I'm going to take you back to election eve, 1996. The previous year we'd had Dianne Feinstein defeating Michael Huffington for the U.S. Senate seat in California, and Willie Brown defeating Frank Jordan for the mayoral race in San Francisco. On election eve 1996, there was a piece that I wrote called Alarm Clock. In the land of dreams, everything makes sense, except that clanging noise that won't go away. The first impulse is to integrate it into the dream, but it keeps clanging, and it refuses to make sense, and it refuses to go away. In the struggle to make sense, the reality of dream fades and refocuses on the alarm clock next to the bed. I reach over and push down the knob that turns it off. Now it all makes sense again. And that, after all, is what is most important. When things don't make sense, who can gauge the power that is unleashed to force it to make sense again? Inductive logic is that thing that when we live in Potemkin's villages, those happy-faced artificial places created to assure the Tsar that all was well among the people, makes us ask, where does the make-believe stop? And what is that clanging noise? You don't have to go too far. The mafia's men were in Stonestown gathering signatures to bring Las Vegas to California. Clang. Last year we had a choice for U.S. Senator between the $50 million Republican and the $50 million Democrat. Clang. Last year we had a choice for mayor between the white crook and the black crook. Clang. Young men twist their guns sideways to blow one another away, or anyone else who gets in the way, away. But we do not ask what forces of enslavement, what organizations are perfectly happy to pump it up and move it along. No, talk instead about individuals and family values, because that is something that does not dislodge the notion of the dream. And whatever you do, don't listen to the clang. Listen instead to the radio. Watch the television and read the newspaper. There are so many choices. They could not possibly all be saying the same thing and be wrong. This is America, and we don't allow all the clangs to be owned by the same folks. Just ask the Indians, if you can find any. In nuclear physics, you throw high-speed things at a little target. Not because you care about the target, but because in recovering from the explosion, the forces that are all around us reveal themselves. The more intense the explosion, the stronger the forces of correction that are revealed. Oliver Stone threw a movie at a target, and the forces came out of the ether to correct him. Bobby Kennedy threw a team of prosecutors at a target, and the forces corrected him too. Pay no attention to those distant echoes. Colosio is not a name that matters here. That was in Mexico, and he wasn't even president yet. Besides, what matters here is whether we get a downtown ballpark. Everyone who owns a newspaper wants one. What is this clanging from the voters? At least, thank God, we have the military. They're here to remind us that all of the bad guys who put on similar uniforms and speak with foreign accents and attack our cities in force can be defeated by our guys in well-coordinated, precise actions. It's a good thing that the bad guys aren't hip to wearing suits and instead of uniforms, and that they come from somewhere else rather than from the inside, and that they speak with foreign accents instead of a diversity of local ones. No, that is an alarm. It's a cable car bell, and all they want you to do is eat rice-a-roni. As the bell rings for the final round, you find Sweeney Todd and the fundamentalists. It's actually more of a jingle of bells as you enter America's own little shop of horrors. You say your perception is in need of a little trim. I'm sure we can handle that. Whatever you have that doesn't fit into our worldview goes down a little chute to the basement. It has been the practice of our religion for hundreds of years. It is quite simply easier to modify the perception of clang than to correct it. Do ring the bell, won't you? It lets Mrs. Lovett know that there are more meat pies on the way. High up, somewhere in Tibet, they throw a log on chains and a large bell to find a resonance within the human heart. Before you try this here, though, know this. The most likely way to integrate the sound of an alarm into a dream is to smash both the clock and the bell ringer. The mind that guides the hand in the iron fist is not asleep, and it profits greatly from the sleep of others. If you know what's good for you, you will not seek to find for whom the bell tolls. You'll just silence the damn thing before there's a lot of trouble.